32, and it drives this, sliced it down to third man. Squarish of that position is the Bangladeshi field down the boundary. Only one. End of the over, 9 goal, 59 for no loss.
One game doesn't determine whether you're good
or not.
Or you're bad.
Fair enough.
Right.
But still, it keeps you interested in knowing that there is
only one
a chance for you to get that. Should the regulars get injured.
Your point at the beginning was that Timber got one game
or
against
not,
Ireland.
and
Got
I have a
100.
problem with that. It
And
keeps you
interested
coming
in
knowing that aside.
Then it doesn't make sense.
Only one chance for you to get that. Should, because the regulars occupies that space. You can't drop him.
But one game against and then we want to give them a taste of new interest. He scored 100 on Derby. When he gets the chances to go, we want to give him a taste of one national about maybe the next commentator that's coming, maybe have one game.
would you have done it earlier? If your idea is to give young players an opportunity, is it about winning the games, or is it about giving the players the opportunity? Is it about the transition for these young players to play international cricket?
It's good. It's well and good to give a chance, but also you must respect the game. As Taskin Ahmed is in again, balls around the wicket from the Buffalo Park drive end, and shortish delivery, and just pebbled around down to fine leg for one by the lefty, and as they move to 71 for no loss now, De Kock moves to 42.
So if you're respecting the game, South Africa should have played their strongest 11 today.
You need to respect the game. So they didn't make a wholesale of changes on the side.
Made 3.
Didn't they? Yes.
It's a lot.
You're contradicting yourself now.
No, I'm just my thought. It's just my thought on the process.
Okay. Taskin in again. Over the wicket, bowls to Bavuma and works it around down to mid wicket again. He's looking for 2. He's quick. That's wide of that mid wicket, and he's keen for the 3rd. I think De Kock turned him back again. So they've only went for 2. 73 for no loss.
And my thought is coming from, it's Bangladesh. Everyone's talked about how they've been totally outplayed, and they played on very flat. I'm just saying it's one game, and they're not going to play until next year in January against India. Are we going to see some wholesale changes there? We're going to see some young players come through there, maybe.
Guns back into the game.
No.
You're talking about Taskin in again, and Bavuma plays this one down square, fine leg rather for 1. Clips it away. 74 for no loss in the 11th over.
Play 3 games as a young player against Bangladesh, put your name in the hat, maybe get 3 back-to-back hundreds at the top of the innings. Do you get an opportunity against India? Well, no. Because you're only going to get 1 here. You play India in that first ODI, and then you don't get an opportunity.
Was there any chance for if you do perform well there for 3 games and you get a...
There's every opportunity to do that. Every opportunity. If you get 3 back-to-back hundreds against Bangladesh, are you telling me your name is not going to be thought about when it comes to selection in January?
They've thought about Bavuma, and they've given him a chance now.
And he gets 100?
Scored it. It's around the wicket again as Taskins, and to De Kock, and plays it to mid-wicket. And diving at mid-wicket, and he'll run.
But it's all cricket talk, and would love to. I want to hear the next commentators probably talk about this. I just want to really think about, you're talking about giving players opportunities, you're talking about moving the game forward. Why not give them more games? And I'll still come back to the point that there's not a lot of ODI cricket until you play against India. Then you're going to bring in the big names. What about these young players that want to play against India and probably would have had an opportunity? Oh, the fringes. Give the fringes a bit of a cut.
They will when senior players do decide to retire. There's plenty of time for that. Taskin Ahmed bangs it short and pulled. Oh, mistimed pull. Almost a toe end of the bat as he played that one to mid-on. There's a chase from Rubal Hussain and Saqib Al Hassan. And that will land Quinton to cut 2 runs in the process. 76 for no loss. 11 overs gone, Bavuma on 31 of 29. Got 44 37.
We can move away from ODI cricket. What about test matches? You've got a very crucial 4-day test match. The first one in South Africa underlies the first day-night test. Are you going to see young players playing there? Or are we going to see the big Vern?
Yeah, I would like to think that we might have it.
Oh, really? Ask the West Indies in Bulawayo today.
Yeah, I know what happened. Beginner's luck.
Oh, you see, now that's hurtful. That's hurtful.
Jules might have the score there. What's happening there? Is that day one? Day 1 score?
Day 1, mate.
Yeah. First tested. 2 test matches have been played in Zimbabwe.
Yep.
West Indies visiting the area.
I'll be there for the second one. Probably be a road. From what I understand today, it's turning square. Yeah.
So who took the wickets?
Creamer and Sean Williams. They lost from 174 for 3. They were bowled out for 219. Just my luck, I'll go there and be a road. I'll be there for 5 days watching people block balls.
They turn around and you have West Indies coming back to the game.
174 for 3. They bowled out for 219. I'll send you a message. I'll send you a selfie. Just mine, like I'll go there of the road. I'll be there for 5 days watching.
Mahdi Hassan is bowler from the Bankers Hill end. He's bowled one over already.
I'll send you a selfie. Okay. Reverse it. Oh, you still haven't answered my question about that.
6 for all loss after 11 overs.
Still haven't answered my question about that 4-day test. But let's flip this. Okay. Reverse it. Oh, you still haven't answered my question about that.
6 for all loss after 11 overs.
That's not a question.
No.
Alright.
It's a conclusion
Okay, or a statement.
or a statement.
One of the
Yes,
two.
I've come
Okay,
to-
pick.
So that you just like arguing
No!
or discussing, maybe not arguing, but you like
Because
to.
I'm not sure everybody's actually thought about that. Because if people are going to say, okay, we want to give youngsters an opportunity, a fair opportunity, I think perhaps give them 3 games, not just the one. Give them a fair opportunity to play. 1 game I feel is unfair, and I back it up in that there's not any ODIs until January when they play India. So, and then you also brought up a good point in that. Would Australia do that? But Australia, the way they play the cricket is a bit.
Here comes Tuskin Ahmed now into Quinton de Kock. Missed a pull short and a short delivery, but they ran. They've gone. It's going to be a look by. That hit him on the pad, the thigh pad. Or was there a bet involved?
He hasn't called it anything.
Yeah, hasn't called it. I think there's a change in the commentary box. That time is enough.
Oh, come on. I was going to say, the way Australia play their cricket is a bit arrogant.
We've said
So
a lot
they'll
of
just continue going bang, 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 bang. They won't try and mix it up and change it up. And that's why they struggled when all their internationals retired, like Glenn McGrath, Adam Gilchrist, Ricky Ponting, all went at the same time, and they had to rebuild. So I think if you're going to be ready for the future, give them a fair opportunity and a good crack at it.
I think that it's definitely something that is up for debate. People have differing opinions, and it doesn't make
And
anybody
he's
right.
got his
Hey,
own
and I
opinion.
never said anyone is right or wrong.
Yeah.
Remember I said that?
Yes, Tuskin Ahmed now to Bavuma. Drives down the ground, straight to mid-on for a quick single. Enough drivel for the day. And thank you very much.
Oh, come on.
As Neil Manthorpe and Quinton Friend are about to, I don't think they will discuss this.
I'm going to ask them to.
Anyway, de Kock on 47 and Bavuma on 34. Another word from you, and you'll be joined by Quinton Friend and
Well, like I said, Neil and Quinton, just before you come in, we're just talking about giving players opportunities. Do you think it's the right thing to give them one game, or is it the right thing to give them 3 games and an opportunity against Bangladesh? And flipping the script, what will happen in the test match on Boxing Day? What will also happen next year when South Africa play ODI cricket? There's a few months before they do that, as Tashkin Ahmed comes in, bowls, it's a short ball to Quinton de Kock, and it's turned around the corner to fine leg, and it's fielded, and he picks up 1. So, just a thought. If you're going to say we want young players to get an opportunity and taste for international cricket, don't bake a cake and then just give them the icing. Why don't you give them a piece of the cake?
It's a little slice.
Well, actually, Quinton and I were very keen to continue the conversation, so you can...
And like I said, no one is right or wrong. But anyway, I'm out of here. Jules, see you later. Neil, he's smiling like a Cheshire cat.
You just leave us an ear, so that you can stay involved. Leave an ear behind. Makes his way out of the commentary box. 83 without loss. 13th over. Here's Tashkin Ahmed up to the crease now. Bouncer! And Temba Bavuma tries to steer that one over the keeper's head. Tries to play the delicate little ramp shot. It was very, very short. So short that it was called a wide, but that didn't dissuade Temba Bavuma from trying to lay bat on it. He was looking to ramp that. It was a foot above his head, quite literally. Imagine that he almost had to jump into the air to try and nudge that one over the keeper's head. He couldn't quite get there. 84 without loss. Yes, Jules?
Nothing.
What were you looking at? That you were
No.
looking.
I'm wondering how long you've been standing on the chair to try and cool down in front of the air conditioner.
Tashkin in. Down the wicket comes Bavuma. 4 runs. Lovely straight drive. Gee, means business. Temba Bavuma. Well, so does Quinton de Kock, but we're expecting that from him. But Temba Bavuma, well, he asked for the... Well, I'm not so sure that it's fair to say that he asked for the opportunity to open the batting, but he was a very demonstrative volunteer. He was volunteering before volunteers were even asked for. He was. He had his hand up and saying, "What do you? Yes, I'd just like to volunteer in case anybody's needed to open the batting," while Hashim's gone. So, and he's taking his chance really nicely as well. He's 38 not out now. He was on the charge there to Tashkin Ahmed, and it's Tashkin now bustling in away from us up to the crease. Bowls full toss, flicked away, 4 more. Terrible delivery, and it's racing towards the boundary. There's a desperate attempt. He's made it. What a terrific save down on the fine leg boundary, I think, by... it's not Shabir Rahman down there. It's might well be Rubel Hussain down on the fine leg boundary. A really, really good save. Third umpire's having a look at it. Third umpire is Ruchira Paliagulige. He's from Sri Lanka. He's having a look at it. Hello, Quinton.
Manners, how's it?
Good. Good effort from Rubel, wasn't it?
That's a fantastic effort. He seems to have pulled that back just
Actually,
in time.
Imrul Kayes, I beg your pardon. Oh, is there contact with the left foot? Seems to be simultaneous that he flicks it back and his left foot kicks the foam triangles. Anyway, third umpire's adjudicating on that. What's he signalled? So fair save?
Yep. All good.
So just went through for 2 then. Bavuma into the 40s. De Kock 48. 90 without loss after 12 overs. Another bouncer from Tashkin, and Bavuma this time leaves it alone, expecting it to be called a wide, but it wasn't by umpire Alim Dar. 13 overs gone, 90 without loss. Well, the interesting thing about South Africa's selection policy and their inclusion of new players is that it goes back decades. I mean, there was a policy decision made around about the turn of the millennium, around about 2000, that new players would be introduced once series had been won, and that has been the way it has been for the last 17 years. And in fact, the history of selection goes back, let's go back 25 years, and there was a feeling that, amongst those in the first 11, that they deserved their place. They wanted to play every game. That's pushed out towards the extra cover region. I don't know if you remember the likes of Brian McMillan. He was the first player ever to be described as being rested rather than left out or dropped, and that's driven powerfully out towards extra cover. And his point was a very reasonable one. He said, well, okay, if I'm if I'm being rested, then I get my match fee, do I? And there were only 11 match fees in those days. Driven out towards extra cover, fielded by Shakib, no run. But I mean, you remember, you know, that there was a kind of a sanctity about your place in the 11. You know, I'm either dropped or I'm in the 11. And forward comes de Kock, single out towards extra cover. Remember, Hansi Cronje said, what is this rotation? It doesn't work. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's now what is this rotation? It doesn't work. It's around the world. I mean, it's now. Do you remember the resistance against it?
Yeah, it really is a tough one, because just in terms of players that come in newly, to come back to that now.
Flicked away by Bavuma, Mehdi Hassan, fielded by Shakib. 92 without loss.
You know, it comes down to, when playing a series, often your main side almost plays the first two in a 3-match series. If you end up coming out on top, there's always changes. We all see that happen.
Here's Mehdi again, driven by de Kock, down the ground, long off, another single, 93 without loss.
And what makes it even more interesting is that the discussion that's been going on while Ed and Mlu was on. Let's come back. It's Quinton de Kock's 50.
47 deliveries.
6 fours and a 6. It is his
15?
15th to go with 13 hundreds.
You wouldn't bet against him adding to that total of 3-figure scores as well. Go on, carry on.
So my feeling with regards to the whole thing is that, yes, there's an opportunity for younger players to come in once the series is won, and that seems the big focus for the international teams at the moment, is that they obviously look to start off the series with their main side, and once series are obviously in the bag type of thing, they make the changes to give guys opportunity. But the problem with that is they do well in one game, they'll have to miss out the next series again. And that is the harsh reality of the whole thing.
Well, Bavuma's played one international. That was over a year and a half ago. Here's Rubel Hussain, and driven by de Kock, square of the wicket on the offside. Was it 2 years ago Bavuma played against Ireland?
I'm pretty sure he
2
played.
years ago.
12, 13 months ago, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the harsh reality with that is if he scores another 100 today,
It was a year
what
ago.
do you do? What do you do in against India?
You put him back on the bench.
So that Hashim comes back?
Yeah. Yeah, Hashim's rested and he's not dropped.
Yeah. But and those are the harsh things that players have to face these days.
Here is Rubel again, and driven by Bavuma, square of the wicket on the offside to the cover sweeper, another single, 95 without loss.
And we also can't say Hash has been playing badly, can we?
You see, my point is that if you said to Hashim Amla, listen, we want to give Temba a run at the top of the order, so we're going to leave you out of this series, it's going to be a slightly different reaction from him if you said, how about you take the third game off, Hash?
Yeah, and I think that's what it comes down to, and that's probably a discussion the two had before us. Is exactly, why don't we give a 3-match series? It gives you an opportunity. We know what Hash is capable of, but here's an opportunity for Temba Bavuma. Go and show what you've got. 3 games.
Rubel again, driven by de Kock in the air, one bounce over the rope for 4. He just swung through the line there, absolutely no deviation whatsoever, slightly over pitch, not a half volley, length ball, and it's just hit through the line. Beautiful shot.
No, it was actually exquisite. But Temba Bavuma could, in 3 matches in a series, proved his worth so much that there's an opportunity to make space for a Bavuma then, somehow. You've got to find a way. But if a guy is playing the way he's actually come out to play again, and he's come off 112, 13 months ago.
Rubel again, de Kock steers it away behind square on the offside to backward point. Oh, and there's a throw at the stumps. It hits the stumps. That's running away down to the boundary for 4. It was a little impulsive from Shabir Rahman at backward point. There's no need for that. De Kock wasn't out of his ground. Sorry, Bavuma wasn't out of his ground. And that's 50 for Temba Bavuma. No, it's 100 up for South Africa, beg your pardon. 100 up, 103 without loss. A little hug there from between de Kock and Bavuma. Partnerships is what it's all about. Far more important than individual scores. Bavuma's 42. De Kock with a bonus. 4 runs there. And they just found themselves at the wrong end. They momentarily, the umpires had to say no. You got 4 for that. You can't be at the non-striker's end. You hit it for 4. Actually, he didn't hit it for 4. He hit it straight to backward point, but the throw at the stumps deflected off to the boundary, so it counts as 4 to de Kock. Nice bonus runs there. 59 to de Kock now. 103 without loss. Rubel in. De Kock drives again down the ground to the captain, Ashraf Mortaza, at mid-off.
Just to come back to our discussion, Manners, it's if Temba Bavuma would have got 3 games and done really well because of Hashim Amla being rested for the whole series, and he does, so Bavuma does really well. Am I right in saying that a place will be made somewhere in that starting 11 for him to continue?
The problem is you only have
where exactly?
11 players.
Short, swung away by de Kock down towards long leg, and they go through for a single. And that's the other thing about South Africa's selection policy over the last couple of decades, is that whatever you might think of it, it has been very consistent. And there's only been one high-profile case of a player losing his place through injury who didn't get it back again once he was fit, and that was Ashwell Prince on the 2008 Tour of Australia when JP Duminy made 165 and kept his place for the 3rd test even though Prince was fit again. But otherwise, you know, if you say to Temba Bavuma, we're widening our player base, we want to know if you're the man to fill in case somebody has to fill in for de Kock or Amla, so we're going to have a look at you, but you know, you've got to understand that at this stage you are still a reserve, but we want to give you a run to just, you know, see how you work out at the top of the order. And let's say he'd been given the 3-match series, scored 300s, he would still have been a bench player, as is, you know, Vian Mulder, as is Aidan Markram. They know that they're not first choice players at this stage, but they're being given a run just as you would do in any sport. Try to get the reserves some game time. Down the wicket comes de Kock to Mehdi Hassan, driven away on the leg side out to the man sweeping on the square leg boundary. But I mean, you know, it's all very well to say a place needs to be found for Bavuma if he does, but where?
Yeah, who do you drop? Who are you going to drop?
Yeah, I mean it is a tough one, especially up the order. But at least you've got the resources in knowing that Temba Bavuma can do that job.
Mehdi Hassan again to Bavuma on the back foot, nudges it away out square on the leg side. One more.
But we also know Temba Bavuma can bat at 4, 5 or 6 in those positions as well. Now you've got to look in your South African side at who's at probably 6 at the moment. We take Biardin. If we look at just the makeup of the team today, with Mulder, Pechlukwaju at 7 and 8, those are players that can also finish you a game.
Slapped away by de Kock, short outside the off stump to the sweeper on the cover boundary, and Mamadullah Fields to go through for another single. But David Miller's it, and he's the first choice number 6.
Yeah, correct.
Is this not the most wonderful situation for South Africa to be in? We've got so many really good batsmen that we don't know how to fit them all in. It's a good place to be.
Rotation, yeah, exactly.
No, it really is a good position.
Driven down the ground, beautiful shot from Bavuma, but Bangladesh have got as many fielders on the boundary now as they're allowed, and that's gone straight to long on. Rotation is accepted a heck of a lot more than it used to be.
And you know what, it is really tough, and it's how you bring the message across to your players and keeping them motivated.
Oh, edged here. De Kock looks to late cut it, but he's got a top edge and it's running down to the boundary for 4. No slip in place, and that's really as a result of the positivity of the 2 batsmen. Bangladesh are absolutely 100% on the defensive here, so never a thought of a slip. If there had been, it would have been straight to him. At about, well, probably would crouch in the crouch position. He probably would have taken that about with his fingers pointing upwards in front of his
Played it
chin.
nice and late as well. De Kock, thick outside edge, but I think he was aiming to get it into that area somehow. He'll take it. Played quite beautifully this morning. Quinton de Kock, nice and late. Opened with spinners from the one end in Bangladesh, but de Kock was onto it. Ball spinning away from him. And some beautiful straight drives, some
So using the spare microphone.
A lovely package of...
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll take a short break here. 112 without loss. We'll go to the news headlines.
On air, online, and on your mobile. This is